the answer.
Okay. I'm gonna leave this one. No.
But it only contains one letter. So now we're gonna have to think about it, because I was pretty sure that's what it was. Experience that. When, not it. It's
Oh, no, it's my sweat off. Oh. Yeah, there. I wonder if I was. Actually, it's about it.
No, this one gets really low.
Linda, are you excited to learn how to embrace your job?
And I think it's on the right one. Go ahead and give it to him. I'll pop it up in my office, and if he's not sounding clear, I will.
Just like church.
Like church.
Can't sit down. Preacher. Oh, yeah.
Your church had a little clip-on mic?
I know, we do a.
That's a fancy
Over the ear deal. No, not me. Nobody wants to hear me talk.
Whatever.
So, you get more people if it's turned off, isn't it?
Okay, I think you're good. It's clear.
I almost went that donuts.
I told Louis, I was like, stupid strategy. I'm late. I hope he has donuts, especially for.
You did not say that.
I did.
Oh, you're just making me feel bad now. I'm joking.
And the whole time I'm saying donuts, I'm thinking, I hope he brings those ones that he brought the other day from like Winchester that are like the size of your head.
Next class I teach, I will definitely do.
That's probably one of the ones I won't be here is September, right?
That is September 2nd, the day after Labor Day.
Oh, good, okay.
The day of labor. We will not be laboring on Labor Day. Non-Labor Day is what we should call it. Ignite session 2. Embracing your job as a real estate expert. Is the clicker not working? Yes, I hope if you're watching this on YouTube. What are we doing here? All right, here we go. Facilitator, that's me. Prepare for success. You guys know me, right?
I think so.
We're friends, we're pals. You don't need to know anything about me. So, Heather, you were here yesterday. Linda was here yesterday. Great. So we have a new and we have an experience one day. So in session 1, you guys yesterday discussed value proposition of being part of Keller Williams. Today, in the second session of the real estate expert of choice, embrace your job, we will cover the key priorities a real estate agent has and discuss what it takes to become a great agent. before we begin, let's hear about progress with the success system from yesterday. So that's a little different thing about Ignite, is they kind of give you a kick in the pants extra. So Heather, do you want to give Miss Linda a little bit about the success system from yesterday?
So the big aha moment I had yesterday, I'll be back there. Was having a profit share. That one's,
Alright, have a profit share.
which is essentially passive income.
Yeah,
So essentially people that you bring into Keller Williams that, well, you get paid off of their being part of Keller
right.
Williams.
So you heard
So
that.
there was four points out of that profit share. There's no financial risk, there's no legal risk, there's no down payment, and there's no phone calls involved in profit share.
Yeah.
That was the one.
Very profit share.
So-
I've heard of it. Okay, yeah.
So, essentially being mindful and talking to people about. Not just anybody, but people that we think would be really good as realtors. And
Yes.
encouraging them to take the KPA or come in and talk to Lexi or Justin.
I actually just had a recruiting conversation with a really good friend of mine before I walked in this door. So again, there's ways to do it. Recruiting clients. You can also recruit fellow agents. If you go around and do a loop around the office, you'll see little checks. May take to everybody's door. That is money that is coming into that person. Passive income, as part of their profit share. They didn't really do anything to receive that. They just found a friend and said, hey, I think you'd be a great real estate agent.
So the friend would need to join, not.
Friend need to join, yeah. Just if we worked together, we were friends and you got me to come to Keller Williams, they would ask me, who's your sponsor? Why are you here? Who got you here? I'd say, Lynn. And so then,
Lexi has a QR code that you can scan and put in a contact that they can follow so that they know that they're that person.
yes.
It's
Absolutely. So from yesterday, there was some stuff to do. It says keep in mind it's not about perfection, it's about progress. We talk about that all the time. So what challenges maybe yesterday with the activities, Heather? I'm gonna call on you again. What activities yesterday did you encounter maybe? Some challenges?
I
All that
think
good
the
stuff?
one that I had struggled with was like your big life,
Mm-hmm.
and coming up with. Like where you will wanna be next year,
Right.
and I still struggle a lot with like limiting beliefs because of. Where I've been,
Yeah.
the fact that I've been just like. Working really, really hard and not seeing any fruit at this moment.
Yeah.
No closings.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I get
So
it.
I and Jackie talked about that it's kind of, it's hard to fight that limiting belief and feel like it's not possible, and. She was like, as soon as you have some closings, that limiting belief is gonna be. Shattered and you're gonna move on, and there's gonna be something else that you're gonna have. to work through.
Yeah,
So that's
even
fine.
just activity in general. You grind and grind and grind, trying to fit in real estate without it being awkward, whatever it may be. But then you actually get somebody that says, hey, I've been to looking at blah, blah, blah. Then it's almost invigorating. You're like, all right, here we go. So yeah, I think it's
Like,
just
what
activity in
did
general.
you see on Saturday and having to go live yesterday, that's. happy, because I didn't have to wait a bunch of days to. Deal with it, and I think that it's a nice one in the sense that it's a backup, so. People can look at it anytime and are not dealing with it being full of stuff and.
Yeah, I mean, and it's validating, so absolutely, absolutely. So, did you have an accountability partner? No accountability partner from yesterday. Maybe we need to get you one. Linda, do you have an accountability partner in your daily life? No?
Maybe my husband.
Well, I mean,
I would have-
as far as that goes, my husband, but I don't think he's gonna really hold me accountable in my job.
I get it. I get that. Like it's a relation.
I think my husband would, I think because
There you go.
he knows. What we're trying to do, or
Yep.
because I'm working a full-time job and trying to make that transition out. He's my. Like social media go-to person,
True
helping with those and helping with the posts and things like that, but. I mean, I think. For me, and when Heather talked about the piece of. Not believing, it's not that I don't believe it, it feels like sometimes. Like the stuff at work, and then it sometimes competes with this. Because it's like, okay, I gotta take time off to do this, but I said I was. Going to commit to doing it, and so then we go, I had something to finish at work, and then we do that, and then I had to go on vacation, so then it kind of feels like, oh. I need to get back on again, you know what I mean? Cause I feel like I fell off a little bit, so I think for me, it's just. It's like it's the consistency.
Right.
And having to keep up and do the same things, because still there's a lot of things, especially with some of the technology that I don't know. But I think I'm starting to understand the relationship piece of it and building those relationships with people, and not so feeling like I have to go outside of the people that I know, because those are the people that I wanna make sure that I reach out to when I started adding some people to my database and things like that, so I can feel like I'm making some headway. Does that make sense?
Yeah, at the end of the day, this just like you said, I mean, kind of comes down to like you have to butter your bread. Your bread is your 9 to 5 to pay your bills. So it is tough to kind of balance what pays now versus what we want to pay later and all that kind of stuff. Absolutely. So briefly cover the agenda objectives for today. So this is the plan for everyone. This is the master plan for Ignite. Find any day you want. Every day I'm teaching that one of those two. I don't know, somewhere around here. But yes, there are lots of good stuff. As we said, there's a little bit of everything. It's very specific. Today, embracing our jobs. So today's agenda, by the end of the day, you will be able to apply the 6 core competencies of a business. You will recognize your role as a fiduciary for clients, review the success system, and to start thinking about what you will learn today, consider what questions you may have and what you would like to learn more about. So we have the ability to have a partner, which is awesome. And we're going to have a quick conversation about questions that you'd like to learn more about. So jot notes down in your participant guide or on your notebook on things that stick with you, and we'll have times to go over it. So that's kind of what it'll be. We'll have a time at the end of segments for ahas and agents helping agents. Give me something that sticks out to you, and we'll be able to chat about it. So as we go through the content today, listen to hear if your question is answered. That question might be answered without asking it. All right. What part of being a real estate agent excites you the most or excited you at one time? What part of being a real estate agent excites or excited you the most when you started doing this? Heather, I'm going back to you. I just heard from Linda. I'm going back to you.
When I started real estate,
Yeah, what excites you or what excited you?
I think
Still excites you.
helping people find, maybe not the dream home, but that new home that they're looking for. So finding that place, and then I think for me as someone that was looking for the first time, that excitement of them finding their first house.
I wanna read something before I go over to Linda. So last night, Kirby got a house for a first time home buyer.
Who did?
So Kirby, who was in our group, we were on a group text with a couple that first time home buyers. They were approved, lower than what they'd like. She is having a baby like February. So she is with child. That baby's coming whether they're in a house or not. So we got off the conversation. I just essentially did the consult and handed it over to her. Like she proved that she was able to do it. So I was like, you could take me off group text. I don't care. So yeah, she did a fantastic job. And the house they wanted, they didn't have the buying power for it. So they ended up going back to the lender. Lender said, we got to do this. Ended up doing that. So I'm sitting at my son's baseball game on the field, and I get this text. Super exciting to share that you all are officially under contract for 328 Hardy Street. I've attached the signed offer agreement, and then I texted in all caps, congratulations. And then the guy said, OMG, thank you. And the girl said, OMG, I'm literally crying, no way. So it's that kind of stuff. I think that we all, Linda, you have shared about your heart with her first time home buyer. It's like, that's a big thing. That's a big thing. And it's harder now more than that. So,
You
absolutely.
just need to find a buyer for the house that I just listed.
You'll find one. That's
It's,
cool.
it's a great deal.
Yeah, you'll find one. Linda, what
Yeah,
excites you still?
I
What
remember-
excited you the most about real estate?
because I think about me and my husband, we're first generation, we were. When we bought our first house and we spent it was $85,000 and man, I mean, we were working hard to make that, to make it happen. We had a great real estate agent who, was honest and knew her stuff. And so that really helped us during the process, but I think a lot of people, for me. I don't know, it has a lot to do with like who I am at my core as far as, people that look like me, it wasn't always easy for them to buy a house.
Yeah.
Historically, when we talk about opportunities, they weren't there.
Right.
And I think a lot of times when people don't have the information, then it's like, well, how do I know I can buy a house? What does this look like for me? Cause there's a lot of talk out there about, oh, well, you need this much money, or you need this, or you need that, or whatever. And I think just kind of educating people and letting them know, it's not to pressure you, because the last thing I would want someone to do is get into something that they could not afford, because I think owning a house, it's a privilege,
Right.
it's an opportunity to build generational wealth, something that, like I said, it wasn't passed down to my grandparents and things like that. So, for me, it's really making sure that, I educate them and, give them all the tools that they need, and then they make the decision like, hey, is this right for me? If
Yeah.
I'm renting, is it better for me to buy? But then kind of understanding that, because people don't, when we got our house, I remember we got in there and we had monies and told the kids, well, you know what? You can paint your room whatever color you want or whatever, for us, that was cool. But it's like, you gotta understand, when that water heater breaks, it's yours. You need to get it fixed.
Sure.
So it's just kind of knowing all those things. I know it's scary, but I think it's more exciting than it is scary.
Yeah, and it's an awesome responsibility, is what I say, like helping someone through the biggest purchase of their life.
Absolutely.
If, say in that deal I was just talking about, where they needed more buying power, what would a lesser agent have done? Sorry, can't afford it. Or we'll offer at what your max is, and just kind of, you can't afford it, let's find something else. But
Yeah.
fighting for somebody, doing what it takes to just go next step. I mean, it was a small thing, but not everybody's gonna think to do it. So, You gotta be able to do it, you gotta be able to have the wherewithal to do it. So having a career in real estate can be extremely rewarding. Being an agent gives you the opportunity to support someone in making one of the biggest and most important decisions of their life, like we said, build relationships with others, and live a big life. So behind the big results of a successful real estate career are daily activities and habits. You guys know about these. The steps are small, but they all lead back to a big life for you. So let's talk about the day-to-day activities of all successful real estate agents, otherwise known as the 6 core competencies of a business, which come from Gary Keller and his team's book, Shift. I love that book. The 6 core competencies of a business are the priorities you must focus on as you run and grow your business. Incorporating the core competencies in your business activities can lead to your success as an agent and business owner when implemented at a high level.
Next slide.
Here they are. Ah! Welcome to your new job, your sales career. I love this. You're an independent business person, and it's important to understand the components of your job. Essentially, you are it. There's an appropriate saying. If it's meant to be, it's up to me. I say that to my kids all the time. Say it to my wife even. I don't care. I love that saying. So in your participant guide, you'll see the 6 core competencies of a business listed, which come from Shift. So
These come from Shift.
these do come from Shift. Yes, these are initially written in the Shift book. So we have those available where books are sold. 6 core competencies. Number 1, lead generate, capture, and convert to appointments. Number 2, present to buyers and sellers and get agreements. Number 3, show buyers and market sellers. Number 4, write and negotiate contracts. Number 5, coordinate the sale to closing. And number 6, manage all that money. So we reviewed the overall path of Ignite, but you can see what we cover in all these competencies. We build on each one as we go. So running a successful business involves engagement in all 6 of these activities. The first competency, there it is your first priority. After all, if you have no leads, you have no business. You must have leads to sustain a thriving business, which is what you signed up for. So let's break it down. Let's go back. There we go. You will learn, and it will be repeated over and over, that your number 1 job is lead generating. It's the daily practice of talking to people about buying and selling real estate. Capturing is about obtaining accurate contact information, that is name, phone number, email address, home address, and any other personal data a person is willing to divulge. Capture also means adding new people to your business database so that you can converse with them and provide value. Another important component of lead generation and capture is that you ask for permission to stay in touch with each person. That is important. That is important. You'll learn more about the importance of this step as we explore lead generation later in Ignite. Finally, converting leads to appointment. Capturing leads is wonderful. However, the ultimate goal is to find active buyers and active sellers and set an appointment to meet and agree to work together in the buying and selling of real estate. Remember, we are learning and building on each new skill as we advance through the entire course of Ignite, which is why it's important to attend every session and complete the course, which I know all of you will, or at least watch them. All right, number 1, what questions do you have about this first competency? Give me something. Pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I think the one that I struggle with probably in that is, I'm very good about talking to people. But as far as capturing stuff in just small talk,
Making it transactional.
right? I have a hard time transitioning from, hey, talking to somebody in the grocery aisle to, hey, let me get your phone number and let's connect.
Sure.
So that one's kind of, that feels still. a
That's
weird.
the part in their brain that is suddenly that switch flips and they're like, they want something.
We did hear something though, and I was gonna share this in the PC coaching. From open houses. And somebody gave me something the other day. As far as asking the question of, are you working with an agent?
I don't love that.
I don't love that either, but they gave me a really
I probably
good
told you
question
what I said.
to ask instead. And it said, and you say, instead of, are you working with an agent? You say to the person, do you have someone sending you any good deals or listings? And then
That's good.
switch it, goes, hey, maybe my agent isn't sending me everything that's active. Or maybe I'm not getting it, and then they'll explain to you, oh, my sister, uncles, cousins, whatever is sending me stuff from Zillow or Craigslist.
Yeah, I'll say something like, depends on the scenario, like, have you met with someone to discuss how whatever they're looking to do, like.
Yeah.
But that's exactly.
Oh, that's
right.
good, that's.
Yeah, do you have anybody that's showing you like the best options?
Yeah, and I thought that was so good, because if you say, are you working with an agent, they're like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
if I say no.
have an
They're gonna call me, or I have an agent. But it's not really a good agent, because then they'll start, if you ask them, hey, are you having somebody, is who's sending you good deals?
Unless they're first
Everybody
time home
wants-
buyer, they got
everybody
it.
wants- Everybody wants a good deal,
Yeah.
so I
Like,
just thought that was good, so.
Yeah, that one open house I did when someone came in, the first thing she said, I'm working with an agent, just to let you know, but remember, we talked about that, cause she started asking about interest rates and all these things that. You know, we were
Now,
talking
why
about.
hasn't
like,
your
wait,
great
wait,
agent
wait,
discussed
if
these
you're
with you?
working with an agent,
Yes.
you're asking me these questions.
Yeah.
That was, I thought that was interesting, but again, I don't wanna come off as like. Too salesy.
Well, that's her way of walking in the door and saying,
Right,
keeping you at arm's length.
Well, and then that would be, I think, for me, oh. Your agent should have that information, but I'll, here, I'll get it for you.
Yeah.
And then you can turn it around and say, hey, you should really, if you are working with an agent.
but I think she put her name down when she wrote on this, so she might have put the agent's name down. Too,
Yeah,
that she was.
Yeah, so a lot of people do that.
So, right,
they have an agent name that they know and they'll put it down. That's always so, that's all,
Sometimes I will reach out to that agent and say, are you working with some?
yeah.
Again, it might trigger, like if it were me, that would trigger me to reach out to that person. So it's kind of a chain reaction, but at the same time, it'd be like, no, like,
Sometimes they even just know a name that they've seen a lot on signs,
Yeah.
and they will write it down. I've had one like that from an open house.
Yeah.
And I call them and they're like, I don't know who this person is. I've never heard of this. person."
yeah, I think people try to do that, to stand up. Yeah,
Mhm. They don't want.
They don't
sales, they-
want you calling them, or they don't want to give out their personal information or whatever, and they have a right not to.
yeah, I think
not
there's
to do that.
there's a way to filter through that, like, I respect that. What's your reason, like, are you thinking, a lot of it, they're probably thinking like, they're gonna reach out to me all the time, or what they sent me is not valuable. So then it comes down to value, if what you're giving is value, they'd love to hear from you. It's kind of like, I'm going off on a tangent, I'm gonna get slapped by the United Police, but same thing, talk to a guy, got a lead over the weekend. Don't know him, never met him. He's looking at a house in Mount Sterling. So got in a three-way text with him. And hey, great to meet you. Gave him a call. Right then and there, didn't answer. Hey, I just gave you a call. You know, you're still looking at 123 Main Street. Yeah. He goes, yeah, I am. Not really anything to talk about, is what he said. We then proceeded. I went through the LTP Mama location, timeline, price, all that kind of stuff, mortgage, motivation, age, and appointments. We texted for almost an hour and he was bing, 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 bing. I'm like, we could have just had an 8-minute phone conversation. But instead, I get my fingers locked up for an hour because you thought there was nothing to talk about. Well, there was a lot. So, yeah. But anyway, it's always funny. They think there's nothing. Second core competency is to present to buyers and sellers and get agreements. This core competency is about your skill during the appointment with the buyer or seller. Presenting to buyers means going through the buyer consultation document, which outlines the entire buying process and all the steps you take to assist the buyer in the process. You will also address any questions or concerns the buyers have at that time. Presenting to the seller is similar. You go through the entire listing presentation document with them, which outlines the entire selling process, including the marketing you will provide along with all the steps you take to assist them in the sale of their house. The expected outcome of both of these presentations is that your client, whether a buyer or seller, will sign an exclusive agreement to work with you. You'll learn all you need to be able to successfully present and obtain a signed agreement later in this course. Another part of it. Stay tuned. Dun, dun, dun.
So would you say in two, it comes down to the skill of presenting value in actually getting people to sign agreements?
Yes. You might have the most polished buyer representation agreement in the history of man that they could care about. Like, some people don't want to be presented. I had a lady here, it was like 2 weeks ago. She couldn't have cared less about being presented to. She wants to connect to the person sitting across the table. Trust you, will you take care of me? Those kind of things.
So when you see that they're not caring about quote unquote a presentation, they're wanting to connect, do you just kind of throw the presentation out the window and just?
I still have it. I'll break it down in different ways. A lot of times what it'll be is like if I have 8 things I want to take care of, I'll hit them. Wait a little bit. Get it again. Number 2. Wait a little bit. So kind of one of those.
So you essentially, I'm asking you, I'm trying to assimilate. So do you have your presentation memorized so that you can kind of convert it?
I know what I'm gonna say, but I think in an effort to not memorize.
Not to sound like a robot, but you already know everything that's in it, you understand it completely so that you can break it down and modify it. If somebody's not wanting to hear a presentation, you can kind of throw it out the window and modify it to more of a conversational.
Yeah, no question. You ever bought a car from a car dealership?
No.
You ever bought a car from a car dealership?
Yeah, I've been there.
You know, at the very, very end, after you get done with the salesperson, you go in to sign all those documents. That's what I used to do. And you are so robotic. It's disgusting. You're just, this is the so-and-so, this is so-and-so. This next one is the so-and-so, and this is so. That's kind of where that comes from. Like, you have to be able to explain the document because that lady that we met with, while she didn't want to have some big formal, she wanted to talk. She still had some good questions, like tough questions that if you weren't prepared, you'd be, I don't know. So yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's where I get nervous with the presentation is I have a little bit of knowledge on that. I'm still working on that though. So.
It's okay to have like a note sheet with bullet points and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Third competency is about showing buyers marketing listings for sellers. What do these mean for you? Showing buyers is all about understanding the needs of the buyer and selecting houses for them to experience with you. Marketing sellers translates to marketing their house in the best possible light and via the most channels to ensure that as many potential buyers as possible see it and are interested in it. This will also be covered in more detail as well. The fourth competency is writing and negotiating contracts. This is a big responsibility and one that many new agents are concerned about and anxious about completing their first contract accurately. Negotiating is another competency that requires practice, calm, and a win-win mindset. Remember, win-win is one of KW's beliefs. Win-win or no deal. I say that at home as well. Win-win or no deal. The fifth competency is about getting the deal all the way to the closing, where the buyer gets the new keys to their home, or the seller releases the keys of the home to the buyers, and you get your money. Keep in mind that not all deals make it to a close for a variety of reasons. It takes skill, and this is why one of your core competencies is this. The sixth and final competency is about managing your money. You already learned from day one that the paycheck you get upon closing is not to be put in your pocket and spent. Not all of it. There will be expenses to pay and the ever-present taxes that will be saved for and paid every quarter. There is a great KWU course for you called Profitability Agent Financials. Most likely it will be offered at the regional or international level.
I think Jack. Money, of course. She was fantastic yesterday with the money stuff. She
We do need to dive into that a little bit more because
can come into the see her
give us something.
and show us like how to do the whole small business stuff. In the finance stuff.
All they just take care of.
Well, they do,
But
but I think
completely
it
agree.
would be easier for you to do it during PC. Rally,
Mindset matters. There's another essential component to this job. It's the mindset. Your mindset each and every day. We talked about mindset yesterday, and you've got the KW belief systems along with the 6 personal perspectives to keep you strong. Who can remember any of the 6 personal perspectives? Let's share.
6 personal, isn't that from the beginning?
Yes.
You go back. That's why I wanted this book. Commit to self-mastery. Commit to the 80-20 principle.
Okay.
From entrepreneurial approach, purposeful approach.
There we go.
Make being learning based the foundation of your action, not ignorance based. Remove your limiting beliefs and be accountable.
That was yesterday, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes. That is essentially the chapters of that's the shift book. The 6 personal perspectives kind of broken down.
Yeah,
That's what shift.
it has all the slides.
Excellent. Thank you. So it's important to keep your mindset programmed to success and continue to believe in yourself. There may be days when you feel less accomplished and you'll need to pull yourself up and keep going. Maintaining a mindset focused on being of service, adopting a mindset and a philosophy of contributing to the lives of other people allows you to be direct and to the point in your intentions with people. With a focus on contribution and being of service, you'll communicate more effectively with customers and win their hearts and minds. Energy, enthusiasm, and a deeply rooted belief in doing the best job possible for each and every customer attracts people to. Take every opportunity to educate the people in your personal, professional, and social life about what you do and how you can help them. These reminders for people in your network can lead to many, many referrals for your business. We love referrals.
I sent a referral yesterday.
You got a referral yesterday?
Yes.
You gave one, all right. Let's discuss some realities about being a real estate agent. So I'm going to ask following questions and allow you all to answer, then provide the answers shown or adjust answers for your market. Okay, interesting. All right. Question 1. I promise I've looked this over. How long on average does it take to get a buyer or seller to sign a contract for a sale or listing?
I have it.
How much time on average do you think if you have somebody say, somebody you don't, like somebody you meet along the way, not a
Best buddy.
personal connection. Yeah, not your best friend, not your personal.
Yeah, just they your.
Like that, Steve, because
Hey,
in my mind, I've heard people talk about, oh, I've been working with this person for a year, and they finally signed something.
Right.
So when I see the quote on average, I want to say 3 to 6 months, but
that's good.
that would just be literally a guess.
I'd say for somebody, yeah, that you do need that has a real estate need. It here says 60 days, 1 to 60 days or more.
1 to 60 days.
I think that is very accurate. If you know they have a real estate need, it could take, I mean, shoot, it could take 3 days. But I would say, you know, even if they say, I'm
60
looking to
days.
buy a house.
So I was close.
Even if they say, I'm looking to buy a house, you gotta match up the timeline, you kinda gotta get it feel right. If you say, let's start tomorrow, they'll be like,
Right.
so. How long does it take for a Linda, how long does it take for a transaction to close? From time that it goes under contract for you to get paid? What's that?
For me to get paid?
Yeah, like for if we go look at a house right there, if we went and looked at the Waffle House, I signed on to buy the Waffle House. How long on average before the contract closes and you get paid on?
30 to 60 days?
30 to 60 days.
That's
Very
what
good.
it says.
Very good.
And then I would say 2, rounding things out. If you make sure that your documents, as you are doing them, are in command, when you close, you get paid.
Yeah, that's true.
It slows you way down if you haven't linked everything.
It can't be stressed enough how important it is that you develop your skills in these areas so you can get paid and be successful in this business. This is what we talk about every day. Lead generate every single day. Build your database of contacts. Communicate with people about real estate daily. Commit to go on a lot of appointments and practice conversations to get better every day. Remember the quote from yesterday, anyone can do it, not everyone will. Will you? I like that. Anyone can do it,
Doctors,
but everybody will. Right. To
that's
the
what I thought.
Heffalo tree, anyone can do it, but not everyone will. Here's another quote from Shift. Another book by Gary Keller and his writing team. It's about the importance of these 6 competencies to reaching your highest potential. To achieve your highest potential, these 6 core competencies must be done consistently and done well. After covering this session, what are your ahas maybe we haven't talked about? Something we haven't talked about yet. Good.
You covered it.
Any water, bathroom breaks, coffee breaks, everybody good? Alright.
Sometimes.
Now that we've introduced the 6 core competencies, you know the essentials of what your job as a real estate agent entails. There are 2 ways that you can serve your clients: as a functionary or as a fiduciary.
I think this is in REA.
This is very much an REA, yes. Probably about halfway through the book.
Yeah, I actually think I was.
Yeah, that's earlier, but right third, but. We learned earlier how important it is to maintain a mindset focused on being of service. Let's imagine doing business with a company, for example, a car repair company that doesn't really care about your needs. They just focus on getting the job done and getting paid. They don't want to build a relationship with you or stay in touch during the job or after the job. Now let's imagine doing business with a different car repair company. This one listens to you, anticipates your needs, and helps you make decisions. Educates you on the entire process, acts like a partner in the process, keeps you updated on the status of the work, and even follows up with you after the job. What's the difference? The first company is acting as a functionary. The second company is acting as your fiduciary. Your role as a respected and successful agent is to be a fiduciary. In The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, Gary Keller explains a functionary is one who is in a specific task relationship with their clients, and they do the job, while a fiduciary is one who not only does the tasks of the job, they are also in a high trust relationship with their clients and feel total responsibility for the outcome. This is especially important in real estate when people are making their most expensive purchase. Question: why would a prospective buyer or seller prefer to work with an agent who presents themselves as a fiduciary versus functionary, Linda?
I would say because it builds trust. And
Absolutely.
because one of the things that you mentioned was this is one of the biggest purchases of your life. And so you want to know that you have someone who is advocating, who's on your side, who is going to, be honest, tell you like it is, and, just walk you through the process. Cause it's scary. Even though we've bought several houses now, each transaction and each time it was very different. And every agent that we had was like that, to answer those questions. Or we even had one agent where I felt like at first it's like, hey, it looks like you got a lot of stuff going on. Are you able to do this? Because we're serious about this. We have to move from one state to the next. And it's like we kind of need it done. So are you up for the task, or do we need to just kind of move on? And you can just be honest with us about it, because I get people have a whole bunch of other things or whatever going on. So, and I have to sometimes put myself in that person's shoes. It's like, what would I want?
Right.
I would want somebody to be there. And that doesn't mean that I call you at 3 a.m. No, I know, but I mean, when I call you and I ask you, questions, and that we meet and we talk, if I have a question about the process, or whatever, just kind of knowing that, hey, my agent is good. He or she is gonna answer my questions, and they're gonna let me know straight up, even if I might not be right or whatever. But it's like, it's building that relationship and building that trust.
Should be a tough 55, but it's in a good way.
I would.
Oh, yeah. Not in a bad way. You know what you want.
Yeah, but isn't that what everyone wants?
You
Isn't that
know what you want, and you're not afraid to express. Not everybody's able to do the same.
I think a lot of people
You
are.
have high expectations of people.
High expectations. What I would say is, it's more like, you know what you want and you're able to verbalize it, a
Yeah.
lot of people have, and you have expectations that may or may not be reached. But there's other people that they're like, oh, I kind of want this, but if I found this, I would take this, or.
That's the kind of person a good agent wants to work with. They know what the other person
Right.
wants. They're willing to talk about it. They know what a win looks like.
Verbalize it, and you're like, no, this is what I want, and this is what I'm going to find.
But sometimes
I
I'm
call
not,
that-
when you're not able to verbalize it, sometimes maybe just having that conversation so that you and your agent can figure out what it is that you want, cause not all the time you go into it. I don't always go into it knowing what I want. I didn't know that, when we did that build or whatever, and I'm looking at this house and thinking, oh my gosh, it's too dark back here. It's like, hey, can somebody add a window here? But that's that's just kind of you thinking off the top of your head, because sometimes I don't know what I don't know, and I don't know everything, and even though I bought 4 houses, every transaction is different, it's just like. I don't know, I'm afraid, I guess I'm not afraid to ask questions.
Right, and I
Okay.
think that the not afraid to ask questions is the key. Because there's a lot of people that they're like, oh, I'm not gonna say anything, because I don't think you look stupid.
Silence.
And that's why, that's the piece that when I talk about building trust, is that you get them to ask questions.
Yeah.
You encourage them to ask questions, because you don't want anybody going into the process not knowing a thing, right? You just, hey, if there's anything that you think of or whatever that you wanna know, then hey, let's talk about
Silent suffering is the worst killer.
it. Right, that's what we tell our students, no question is done. We sit in a classroom full of 30-some students and people don't wanna ask questions because they feel like, someone else is gonna think that they're dumb or they're whatever, but I think it's that encouragement and just getting people to kind of open up. And I get, it's not easy for everyone. It's not easy for me sometimes, especially when I don't know you, so,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Love it, love it. Because a fiduciary places their own, just like you said, their client's interests ahead of all others, even their own. Sometimes win-win or no deal. If the transaction does not benefit the client, no deal. But being a fiduciary is a big deal. It's an honor. It's more important than ever in today's market to wear this badge of honor proudly. Helping your clients understand their role is a big part of what you offer as an agent. Let's talk about examples of how you could serve as your client's fiduciary during a real estate transaction. Actually, we were ahead on that because we just discussed that. Oh, here we go. We have an activity. All right. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna give you the 5 core competencies to each group. I'll write it down on the board. And assign, and each one we will brainstorm a way that they can serve. Yeah. We'll take each core competency and talk about ways to serve as fiduciary for that core competency. So participants may refer to the difference between a functionary, fiduciary, all that good stuff. All right, number 1. How can I be a fiduciary in the lead generation, capturing and converting to appointment stage of our competency? What's a good way to be a fiduciary during this stage? What do you think, Heather?
Well, I'm looking at the list, because fortunately I have the cheat sheet,
Oh, no.
and I'm like, okay, well. When you look at fiduciary, there's a high level, so you're looking at the big picture instead of just. Through a funnel.
That's all right.
You perceive information, so you're getting the information from them. And not just receiving the information, but you actually receive it and understand it and process it as they're giving it to you, because if you look at the different functionary with information, you just record the information, just write down what they want. And then create a search from that, but if you're receiving the information, you're internalizing it, and if they're telling you that they want X, Y, Z in this area, you can say, hey, I know that you want this, but we may be able to open your search up and you find something within a parameter a little bit wider. This might, if you open your parameter up just a little bit more, kind of like you said, with a functionary agent, that deal last time would not have gone through. Because they would have just said, okay, wrote the contract, sent in the offer, it was refused. We'll just keep looking. But a fiduciary would say, hey, we wrote the offer, got refused, let's go back to the drawing table, we're gonna get this deal worked out. So, but as far as leads, you're hearing the information come in and you're saying, okay, hey, this person has X, Y, Z going on. Let's take that and turn it around.
Anticipating needs in that same group, like we mentioned, they were both, we keep referring to this one, but. It's an easy one to point at. They had a baby on the way. House doesn't need to be a project. They looked at some projects, some big time projects. And so going in, whenever we spoke about the house, we were sure of this. I don't normally like to do this at all. To sort of give them a little seller's disclosure summary for each one. Hey, there's a house in Frankfurt. Looks like it has some foundation issues, maybe it's had some flooding in the past, as well. So, when we talk about it,
You said you don't like.
I generally don't. I look at seller's disclosure. I don't want to deter people. If they want a house, they can read. I'll send it to them. They can see. I don't want that to be my intro. But for these people, especially, it was valuable to them because. And I don't want to waste time and want to see something, like, I don't want to go to see something that's gonna be a project. I mean, they wanted to move
What
to
I'm
a
hearing,
house.
what I'm hearing you say is that you're really listening to their needs. And someone's getting ready to have a baby and I work jobs, and I do not have time to fix up X, Y, and Z, or do all of it. So really honing in, on their needs so that you're better able to kind of serve them and I guess look for properties or whatever that
Absolutely.
maybe fit their needs.
Yeah, they want something more move-in ready, so why would I send you something that's a complete gut job that needs new drywall? So.
Right, and then also
we'd be like,
frustrates
"Sure,
it.
listen."
Right, absolutely, that's the thing, because there's a difference between hearing and listening.
That's right, that's absolutely right, my wife would say that. All right, number 2. You hear me, man, are you listening? Dear, I'm always.
We do that a lot.
I'm always
This is like,
listening to you,
yeah, I
dear.
heard you. It was like.
Get appointments. Coffee, lunch, kitchen sit down, whatever it may be. What's our fiduciary role in the getting of appointments or during the appointment process? Where do we come across as fiduciary during number 2?
Listening.
Listening. Okay, listening, very good.
And I learned something not through real estate, but through some of the, Bible studies that I've done in the past. And there's this thing called active listening.
Active listening, that's right.
Absolutely.
Not listening to respond, but listening to what they are actually saying.
If you are listening to somebody in your brain, you're thinking about what you're going to say back.
You're not.
What percentage are you actually listening?
You're not.
Not very much.
Yeah.
Don't have a response already in your brain.
Right, like, and that might take so active listening may slow down the response. Because if they're talking to you and you're actually listening to what they are saying, then when they finally get done with whatever they're saying and you process it, because you've listened to it, it may take you a little bit longer to say what you're going to say. Because you have to think of your response versus
That's right.
listening to them and calculating what you're going to say, because by the time they finish what they're going to say, they may have completely changed the trajectory of the conversation. And I think that's something that Lewis and I have talked about, because he'll go to say something and I'll try and mention sentence and he'll be like, no, that wasn't what I
Well,
was
also,
saying.
I think too, it's one of the things that if you're actively listening, what you should be able to do is when they're done, so. What you're saying is this,
Mhm.
so you go back over what they just said, and if there were any pieces or parts that you missed, well, then fill it in, it's like, okay, oh, I get that. Because you're saying this, because sometimes. I don't know, people have a way of using words or saying things or whatever, and sometimes they might say something that really didn't mean what you thought it did. So I think just kind of going back over what they just said, so that you're both on the same page, and then they know that you're listening.
Yeah, and that goes along with this, is my guy Phil Jones, ask question, process to be clarified, repeat, ask another question, process, ask another question, so that is how you really build relationship with somebody. If I'm meeting with someone and all I wanna do is tell them about me, I have a meeting transcriber, and it actually gives you the percent of speaker A talked to this much, speaker B talked to this much, and I love looking back and saying, did I talk too much? You're 30-40% where you're asking a bunch of questions. Yeah, you talk too much. Oh, well, anyway. Number three.
Something, I have to say something.
Yeah, go ahead, I'm just, I'll write this.
A regular day-to-day job, so I work and I do a program for. The foster youth, right? So what I need, in order to do that, in order to put an intern at a business, I need that business. I need them to come on board. But it's almost like since I've been doing it, and maybe it wasn't as easy the first time, but now it has become, because I know my product. I know what I'm asking, and I don't feel like when I go and ask someone, hey, we're recruiting for next summer, are you interested in having an intern? And then you have all these, pieces or whatever. And it just, I always think, how do I flip the script and turn that into lead generation?
Yeah.
Because it's really the same thing, because all of the people that I've met during this time, I mean, this summer we worked with people from the park district, from the Humane Society, the public library. So I know all those people that are in those spaces. Do you know what I mean? And so for me, it was like, oh, well, that shouldn't be too hard. You build relationships all the time. Look at those people. And they're not just people here in Lexington, because the program is statewide.
Can I help with that? I think I might have something. So when you go in, and I used to do this, all right, I'd go into a school, preschool, whatever it may be. All I want to do is tell them about what I'm doing. I have this, I can do this, we'd like to do this, your families will like this, we do this, we do this, we do this. But I think whenever I reprogram my brain, and you might already do this, but I didn't, is I asked them what they needed. What do you all have for this? What do you all need for this? What would be beneficial for this? Would this make sense? Like blah, blah, blah. Basically taking like, do you have a need? If you have a need, I think I might have a puzzle piece that could fit into that. If you take their needs first and trying to then take what you have and fill it in, rather than saying, I have this and we'd like to do this with this and we do this. I think kind of not even anticipating the need, just purely asking them like, what do you all do with this? What do you all have for this? Oh, that would be great. See, we actually have this and we can do this. I don't know, maybe a little helpful, but I know that for me personally, whenever I kind of rewired my sales and my talking and then kind of telling other people, like, stop just showering on people. Like you come in with all your info and you just dump it in people's desks. Instead, like ask them where their shortcomings are, what's going on here, what are your problems with this? And then try to say, oh, well, we got, I don't know. Maybe something. I have something there. Number 3, show buyers, market sellers. Give me a fiduciary, Heather, for showing buyers and marketing sellers.
For showing buyers, fiduciary would be coming in and again, looking at what they're asking for. And not, if they're saying that they can't go over 300,000, not showing them a $5,000 house.
Right, what about sellers? I think
Sellers,
sellers is just as much or more.
Having hard conversations.
There you go. That's what I was gonna say.
Hey, you're asking way too much for this market area. You need to be able to explain, I know, even with my experience, explaining, hey, let's clean out some of the stuff in the house. Like I had my clients do this weekend.
Yep.
Let's get a pod and let's move all the stuff out into the house. I didn't say John, but they have.
Well, the house looks like a bunch of horses.
They have 1 bedroom that they're. Because they packed everything up in boxes. His son came for, it was his weekend to have the kids. And his son had to sleep on the sofa because the bed was covered with boxes. So we got a pod, we're gonna do new pictures, so making sure to do that, and explain, hey, we need to clean this out, we need to make this look the best it possibly can. Let's take some of the stuff off of the countertops, let's make it most available for showings, all of that.
What do you do when, no, I have another question, I'm gonna piggyback off of that.
Yeah.
What do you do when you have someone who says, oh no, I'm not, this is what I wanna list it as, and this is what we're gonna.
Happens all the time.
Yeah,
A lot of times it's because I need X to buy my new house. And I would say, why do you think that? Has anyone educated you why you think you need $260,000 to purchase your next home? Well, no, that's just what I figured I would need. Okay, so you haven't spoken to anybody like an expert, like a mortgage officer? No. So just something like that, like. For then, it comes into like, why is that important to you? I think I ask that all the time whenever I talk to people. Why is that important to you? Why? Get them to open up a little bit more, then you actually get to the heart of whatever they got going. Why is it important to have this much? Well, with interest rates nowadays, okay. So I heard you mention interest rates. Why is that important to you? Well, I went through a bankruptcy a while ago and the interest rates with my credit score might affect that. Okay, so you're navigating a bankruptcy, all right, whatever it may be, like getting to the heart of what's really going on. Like, why are you so worried about X, Y, and Z? And then I wrote down the other two. Those are pretty self-explanatory. Write and negotiate contracts using sound judgment and intuition. When writing and negotiating a contract to garner the best result, and coordinating the sale, partnering with your client who is buying a home to hire a trustworthy home inspector. That's a big thing too. We are on a shortage of good home inspectors. Let's talk about how you can serve as a fiduciary. There it is. There it is. For the 6th core competency of a business, managing the money. Managing your money means being responsible about how to handle your finances. Would you trust someone of such a high dollar purchase if they can't manage their own finances? Of course not. In addition to giving you validity, managing your own money leads to financial security. Financial security provides you the freedom to be discerning about which real estate transaction you become involved in or not. That's important as well. You're not for everything. Everything's not for you. There may be times to choose to decline a deal because it doesn't allow you to remain in high integrity with yourself or your client. So yesterday with Heather, they introduced the KW belief system, the Y4C's 2T's. The Y4C's 2T's is your guidepost for knowing how to serve as a fiduciary for your client. Joe calls me yesterday. Oh, he won't care if I bring this up. Was driving down the road. He said, I got somebody wants to sell their house with me. I said, "Alright. What you got?" He said, well, he wants to do it. He wants to list it for 3% total. Half point percentage and a half to me, percentage and a half to the agent. What do you think? I was like, man, I don't know if that, that's not enough to wedge me, Joe. Just what do you need? I said, a lot of good buyers agents wouldn't get out of bed for 1.5%, to be honest with you. He was all excited, and I kind of told him why, like this. I said, try to give them extra value in order for more percentage. Ask for more money, but instead of just asking for more money, tell him all the things you can do. And so I told him all the things he could do. He went and I told the guy, hey, I can do this, but in order to do that, we'll need 4, 5, whatever it may be.
Is that what Joe sent me, I think, asking for something about commission land? What is that? Cause I told him I could find it.
It was your
My explanation,
explanation.
my FISBO?
Yeah.
Okay, alright, I will send it to him. I
So
was looking
what
for
ended
it.
up happening with old Joe? The guy went with his step granddaughter to sell the house. He just texted me this morning. He ended up going with step granddaughter, and I want to tell him, brother, you dodged your bullet just because you haven't.
Oh, so the guy did, so he didn't get
Said I could end up going with my step granddaughter. But at the end of the day, like, not everybody's for it. I know it's your first one. You gotta look out. I mean, if you ended up doing it for 3%, you'd be ended up probably giving 2 and keeping 1 by the end of the day. You'd have to negotiate probably another percentage down. Finish that page. All right, we covered our ahas. We good on ahas? We're getting ready to go on to the next part of the agenda. If anybody needs to get up and move around.
Yeah, I will.
Oh.
You need more coffee. I know you
You
do.
need coffee, I need water. Really.
John's gonna make you some coffee.
Oh, John's gonna get me coffee.
John's-
Good. John's good. John's got some of that Cajun coffee. Ah.
So let me ask you this question, since I work full time and I don't come in here as often as some other people. Sure. Am I missing something? Because I keep hearing sometimes you say,
Missing me.
well, well, yeah, I like, when people come in this office, do you guys give referrals to certain people, or how do you do that? What if someone comes in and they're interested in what?
You're talking like for our 9 to 11 Tuesday through Thursday that we normally have?
I know someone sent me a text about getting him connected. Max, she sent me.
I'll be right back.
Oh. March.
Answer your question. You missing out on referrals. I have probably given out 2 referrals. In 2 months, so not really. I do have.
I feel like I'm missing something.
You're just.
I said, you know what?
You're just missing on
Let me
time.
tell you how I am too. And I also feel like, because when I told you I went to Savannah, this was my 27th wedding anniversary. I had to. Even when I was there, I had to. And I'm sure you do this at times sometimes when you feel like sometimes you're off kilter and you need to get back on.
Yeah.
So you sometimes need to sit and think and write things down. I do.
Mhm.
You know, just like before I left, I had this project or whatever you at work, and it was like the date is sticking in my head, and I knew I was going to Savannah, and I wasn't willing to work while I was in Savannah. So I had to work my ass off to get the thing done. And then the way I am and the work that I do, I put a lot of brain power into it, right? To get it right. And so before I went on my trip, I was in the urgent care because I didn't have a voice. And you know, just going down a little bit.
Yeah.
So I had to, I don't know, I had to regroup and I had to refocus and start writing things down again so I could start again. It's like, okay, you're off here. And I don't know if you go through that or whatever, but those are, and then not, and seeing all the other things that are going on and not comparing myself to someone else, because we all got our race to run, whatever it may be, right? And we all have these things called life. That's why I always think about it. It's like, how can I counsel and talk to students and tell them, but then I'm not practicing those same things? Because it really doesn't matter how old you are. What really matters is that you kind of understand, you know, you're able to, okay, I need to get back on it.
Right.
You know, even if it's what you told me to do was go back out there and look at those things out there, like, okay, what can you do? The open houses, the this, I think I wrote something down about, I'm thinking about holding a Zoom for first time home buyers where I just open it up. Invite people to come. We'll see who shows up. Someone shows up, they do, they don't.
You put it on YouTube and just say it.
But those are things that I know that I can do and that I can control. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Because I'm such a list person that every day before I go to work, I have to make a list of the stuff I need to get done, because otherwise if I don't, well, then nothing gets done. But the thing is that you have work, you got real estate, you got family, you got the house, you need a faucet, you need this, all of those things, right? But then the number one thing too is, you know, because I work for social work and they're always talking about, especially the need self-care. Well, he doesn't practice self-care, we know, okay? But, you know, I was just telling my colleague the other day, because I walked into the conference room, and I remember they worked together as a team on this program. And I remember one guy was talking about how busy they were. And so when I walked in the conference room, I was looking for someone else and I saw her. And she just didn't look like herself, you know, she was, oh, I said, how you doing? She was, oh, I'm busy, just really busy. And I just, I could tell that with the expansion of her program and the added responsibilities, she got going on, and I'll just say, you know, I encourage you to just, I know we talk a lot about self-care, but sometimes they don't practice it a lot, so I think that's something that you're gonna turn around and do. But I guess where I'm going with this is that you still have to do that too. That can't be by the wayside, because if you're not practicing self-care, well then how am I supposed to get all these other tasks done? So sometimes it feels overwhelming.
Yeah, and saw this, heard this great quote the other day, it's stuck with me over and over, forgot it real quick. Is that, you know, you talk about self-care, like that's important. I used to be very fit. I used to be able to do all these things.
Are you talking about?
Yep. I used to, well, I'm still, like, not what I was doing.
Okay, well, yes, you know what, a little 60, you look fit to me,
Yeah,
so.
but in comparison to what I'm used to. But I heard something the other day, and that was before I started chasing all this stuff. And there's a cost to success, and there's a cost to failure. You just have to choose which one you want to do. And it is kind of the same way. Like, the cost of failure is that you'll have more time, you'll have more of this, you'll have more of this, you'll have less money, you'll be able to do less of these things. But the cost of success is you'll lose time, you'll have, you know, it kind of, you have one here and one here, and it goes, it kind of flow. One has less and one has more. So a lot of that, because I don't self-care. I mean, I don't, at all, like in terms of what I need to do. Like, I woke up, and this is just me, this is definitely not me boasting, but I think I woke up at 4:30 this morning, let the dogs out, sat on my couch, pulled out my computer and started working at 4:30 in the morning. I stopped at 5:30. Whenever I stopped at 5:30, I had got my kids out the door. That was about 6:40 when they got out the door. And then after that, I go back and start working again and get ready to come. Like, that's not healthy. How's your morning routine, Steven? Well, I usually will let my dogs out and then I'll sit down and start working. Kind of goes against everything. So yeah, it's one of those things too, like, but you asked, I guess the original question was, what are you missing out on by not being here? The thing that I have realized the most is that the people that are here, whether it's once a week, whether it's twice a week, whether it's nearly every single day, whatever it may be, they get an extra hour and a half a day on number one. Either the lead generation part or following up. Like, now we're in the lead following up part. Now they've met people, they're talking about, like, how do I follow up? But it's more of like, they get an extra hour a day, hour and a half a day. We'll go 9:30 to 11, just answering questions, talk about how to talk to somebody and all that. That is 9:30 to 11. So it's like they get an extra hour and a half, because we have found real estate agents up here and real estate agents that are just starting don't do enough of lead generation. They don't do enough of, like, you know, like locking yourself in a room to finish tasks, whatever that task is. And that's really what it is. Like, you look at Heather, she's got a lot of stuff going on because she basically has another half day that I mean, you don't get distracted. Like, we're here, we're not going anywhere. So yeah, that's really what it is. It's just time on task.
And that doesn't have a full time job.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
That's what I get.
That's a big piece of it. And so for me, I have to sit down at night when I get home. Watch,
Absolutely
you
right.
know, somebody challenge me. I don't know, was reading something. Oh, that might have been Joseph on LinkedIn. to 5 contacts or whatever, going through my database, or even Carla had said that, 10 contacts or whatever, going through the database. And
You
going
can do
through
5 a
the
day,
contacts.
you can do 5 a day. 5 a day, 20 weekdays, there's 100. When I
I think that's the hardest thing. That is the hardest thing for me.
Yeah.
Because if I can get in there and get an appointment, I think I'll be okay talking to you. Now, if there's something I don't know, I'm so honest that, you know what, if I don't know it, I'll find it.
that's the way to do it, you're not paralyzed by uncertainty.
Sorry.
Oh, we got that.
My referral is official and my client and the new agent are connected. Never mind, I just had to do it.
Oh, we good.
What did you just say about what was that last thing you just mentioned,
Well, I think it's just.
you're not afraid of something, or you said,
I don't even know.
it was, okay.
But what you say is so true. You got to. And what all of us saying, so if you do 5 a day, whenever a new agent comes to the coach, you may say, well, what I do, Bo's right there, he would, that's good. 100 contacts a month. 1 appointment. Start off. All right, get 1 appointment out of 100 people. Gary thinks for every 14 people that you drip on and talk to and nurture the right way, you get 1 piece of business. For every 14 people that you know. But value to that. If you're really the agent of choice for these people, just give away 1 of those businesses. So, yeah, just being the agent of choice for every 14 people that you know. Next, in this section, you'll be introduced to your daily success system, which is part of the Daily Ignite course. The success system gets you in the habit of lead generation while in the company of fellow Ignite participants, Igniters, and your facilitator today, me, and others in the Market Center who will support and help you in your journey. More fire from the MREA. You've already learned about your first 4 competency is lead generation. Without leads, your business cannot sustain itself. It'd be like opening a Little Caesars and not telling anybody about it. It won't be there for very long. In the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, Gary Killer states that wasn't in the script. What you have to embrace is the fact that it is the number of qualified leads you have that will either grow your business, keep your business, or put you out of business. Nothing else about your business will have as big of an impact as the number of leads you have. You might be the best contract person in the world. But if you don't have enough people to talk to contracts about, it doesn't matter. You might have the best buyer representation agreement in the entire planet, and nobody cares because nobody's talking to you about it. You might be the biggest Canva wizard ever to walk the earth. But you get 3 likes on a Canva that you spent 2 hours making. Heather, what do you think cultivating leads? Why do you think cultivating leads are so essential to the success of your business? This is low lying fruit. You can answer this. Why are cultivating leads essential? Real quick.
Without leads, you don't have clients.
You don't have clients. Linda, why do you think cultivating leads is so essential? How many people have you met? How many people have you met that you might say, hey, I'm Linda, I'm a real estate agent. Well, I'm so glad to meet you, Linda. I have been thinking about buying a house in the last
people more
and nobody people. Well, that's where cultivating leads is. It's working with someone because you'll rarely see somebody that you know and say, I've been waiting for a real estate agent to introduce themselves to me. I'm looking to buy $1 million house. It takes some work. You gotta keep up with them. It's a daily grind. Although lead generation and lead follow-up are the most important priorities you have when running and growing a thriving business, sometimes they may feel uncomfortable to do, especially as a new agent. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Feeling at ease when talking to people you know and don't know about how you can help them with their real estate needs is a skill that takes time to develop. One of the best ways to feel more relations you will have with your clients, potential clients, and other agents involved in a transaction. It's also imperative to have an accountability system in place to support your consistency in lead generation and lead follow-up. In the first session of Ignite, we introduced the 6 personal perspectives. We elaborated on the 6 personal perspectives. And one of them was be accountable. This is a quote from the book by Gary Keller and team, The One Thing. From the quote, accountable people achieve results others can only dream of. Accountability is a crucial part of achieving your goals. You gain more focus and motivation. Think of accountability as a process. It is difficult to maintain drive over the long term, but when you must defend your activities to an objective observer, it becomes easier to stay focused. Accountability is about getting and implementing feedback. You must take time on a regularly planned basis to meet with whoever is holding you accountable, to look at your numbers, and to refocus your efforts. Speaking of accountability, you cannot do it alone.
I'm glad you grabbed that.
For this reason, at Ignite, we partner up with some other participants to help each other succeed. One of the great benefits of having an accountability partner, I'm about to sneeze into this microphone, is an accountability partner that it increases your productivity and keeps you on track and in check with your goals. You will provide accountability for your partner, and your partner will provide accountability to you. We suggest that you follow these guidelines that are also listed in your guide. You provide and receive accountability. Provide a safe place to share. Follow through with action items. Listen and pay attention while the other person shares. Set a frequency of checking in. Dig deep. Find out why you do the things you do. Respect each other and the process. Create a commitment and stick to it. Be open to receiving feedback. Give specific feedback and have each other's best interest in mind.
And how does that make you feel?
Well, I will talk on that. We had our accountability calls on Fridays. We had like 7 at the first one. The next one we had 5. The next one we had 3. And the most recent one we had 1.
1.
Do people like being accountable in the end?
No.
No. Do people love saying they like being held accountable?
Yes.
Yes. There's our case study right there.
So what is an accountability call?
It's when he sets up the Zoom and then he goes through and says, okay, you have this XYZ goal. How many of these phone calls did you make? How many actual phone calls did you make? You said you were gonna make 10. How many did you make? And I have to say, I said I was gonna do 10 and I only made 6.
What would I say?
Do better.
I'd say why. What helps you from doing the other 4?
But you say I was screaming. You don't know about that.
No, I'm nicer than that. No. Well, I just want to help people do what they say they want to do.
But your accountability calls are coming from your leads, correct? Is that where they're coming from?
Oh, this is me talking to Ace.
No, Steven is holding us accountable to our goals. We say, we're gonna call this many leads. We
Right.
tell everybody that's
Right.
how many we're gonna do.
That's
And
from
then
your
on
leads,
Friday-
your contacts, or
And
whatever.
then Friday, he says, okay, you said you were gonna call XYZ leads. How many did you actually call? Alright, he's drawing picture. Let's see here, I gotta put this in my notes.
Yeah, this is off script.
We like off script. Script is more like a guideline. Alright, so you have goals. What else you got there, Steven?
It was a popular PC thing.
Time.
Your results are a combination of your goals, your time, your mindset, skill set.
Mindset.
Where have I seen?
Hopefully nowhere. I said, hopefully nowhere. I didn't know. It's just, color, easily, yeah. But I always think about it, like, this would be the ultimate if we were to have a one-on-one. I'd say, where do you stand on this? Is something too high, too low? If you're not getting the results you want, one of these three things is out of balance.
Sometimes when I look at goals, we can make them. Time.
Yep.
Doesn't mean.
You might
Set up
have,
goals.
you might have the
Goals,
best
you got-
goals, you might have the best training, but if you don't give yourself time to do anything, who cares?
There you go.
You might have the most time in the world, you might have the highest goals, but if you're a dummy, it's not gonna help.
The other thing
Or-
I would say about is you make half the time is what you're doing.
And that's
You
what
have
it's
the
this.
goal and whatnot, but if you sit down to do something on Facebook and then you end up.
That's why I say mindset and skill set. Skill set is
And that's.
knowing how to do it, you know, if you're not skilled enough, if you're a first time realtor that's making Facebook calls and don't have a clue. You might have high goals, you might have all the time in the world, but you don't have skill set. So let's work on it.
Yeah, I find that a lot. 'Cause
And a lot of times, sometimes you have the time, you have the skill set, but you have no idea what you want to achieve. So then you're just like, what do I do today?
And that's where the accountability calls come in, because if you set those goals, a lot of times you can. How do I say this, weasel out of them, if
Yep.
it's just you. But if you know on Friday that Steven is gonna say, hey, you said that you were gonna do X, Y, Z. What did you actually do?
Yeah.
I,
And going forward with this. Actually, the 6 questions you're gonna see in the participant guide. So it has 6 questions. In the coming days, each time you check in with me. Or any of your accountability partners. You will each ask the other these 6 questions to help them assess their progress toward their completion of the success system activities. Number 1, how did you do? Number 2, how did you feel about that? You know, that's what I have a math coach. I have never in my life had another human being ask me how I feel about something more than she does. As a guy, nobody cares how you feel. To be honest with you, that's why she's really the person that has asked me the most. My mother probably would. Number 1, how did you do? How did you do? And number 2, how do you feel about that? Whether it may be, I did really well, how do you feel about that? I did horrible, how do you feel about that? Number 3, did you have any opportunities for improvement? That can go into here, I didn't have time.
Yeah.
I sat and played on my phone, didn't have the skill set, I didn't know how to navigate that conversation. Did you have any opportunities for improvement? It could be, no, I didn't have any time. I'm covered up right now with life. I got life all over me. Covered. Number 4. How will you address these opportunities? And I like 5 and 6 most.
what were your wins?
5, what were your wins? And number 6, how will you celebrate your wins?
These make me think of conversation starters that we used to have when I was growing up. At the dinner table.
Yep. Yeah,
What was the best part? What was the worst part of your day?
we growing up with my kids, whenever they were 2 years old, 3 years old, we used to have pits and peaks. We got pits and peaks every night there. It'd be. We gotta thank you for this food. All right, pits and peaks. It was like they were looking forward to talking about it.
Yeah. It's a good way to just conversate.
And this next slide is the difference for Ignite versus a normal class. So yes, Ignite, Steven spends a lot of time with his head in the paper. Rather than talking, but also this is sort of Ignite's made to sort of apply the gas to give you some skill. Hopefully give you some mindset, but also give you some goals. Success system. We've provided a success system tracker in your participant guide, or if you want to just write it down. As another method of accountability that we will use during Ignite. That would be a good one to copy.
Oh, yeah, and so I was just gonna.
Yeah, I'm gonna copy it.
Today, we're going to focus on the first three activities. We will discuss the other activities in upcoming sessions. All of these can be found on YouTube, by the way, Miss Linda. At your convenience.
Say again,
Yes, ma'am. Everything I'm doing right now, that's what this is for.
the Keller Williams,
This, yeah, the whole day will be on YouTube. Yeah, they are recording me.
oh, they were, oh.
Yeah. We're gonna be you and me together on YouTube. To the moon. To the moon, let's go. Oh, yeah, I could be getting my instructor to work on my faculty, but I don't think I'm gonna do that today. Next time. Heather's out there, she can hear me. Just so I got 14 minutes left. If you can't measure it, you can't improve it. This is a huge thing that I've said. You can't measure it, you can't improve it. How does this apply, Linda, to the success system? If you can't measure it, you can't improve it.
How does it say that?
So if I were to say, if you can't measure it, you can't improve it, how does that apply to that?
Well. What do you? I guess what do you measure? You almost have to know what it is, because how can I improve it if I don't know what I'm trying to improve, right?
Right, so every day when you sit down, this is part of Ignite, this is sort of what, again, the gas pedal. I keep thinking that early 2000s on gas pedal, but this is the gas pedal for Ignite. 10 conversations a day. 10 new contacts added. 10 handwritten notes. A 10-5-1 social media engagement. You ever heard of that?
10-5-1?
10-5-1 being social media?
No, I'm on social media, but I don't know what that means.
Happy to tell you.
Okay.
And one enrichment. So yes, you are measuring it now, so you can improve it. The success system may seem like a tall mountain to climb, and it can be achieved by measuring and improving every day. Top agents measure their important numbers so they can improve. Start measuring now and condition yourself to this habit. You'll be glad you did. Conversing with your sphere. This is an easy way to have conversation. And this is the K-Daddy thing, obviously, but this is sort of when you struggle on what to talk to somebody about. Not necessarily your best friend, but not necessarily your stranger. This could be somebody, even if you met in an open house, that you know that you're not meeting for the first time over the phone. These are talking points that people love to talk about. It kind of goes into my ask question process repeat.
Does this relate to the social media piece of it, or are you gonna hit on? 5-10-5-1?
10-5-1, yes, that's social media piece, that'd be something like that. This is, yes, so. On your daily success system tracker, as a review, FORD stands for family, occupation, recreation, dreams. Why do you suppose FORD works as a conversation method? Why would you think that it works?
Because some of those things are easy to kind of get conversations going.
Absolutely.
Especially unless you're.
It puts the focus on them,
Because
right?
what I
It
did
shows that you care,
for,
Yeah.
gets them talking about emotional things.
I put it on my
Look
call.
at that, she's got it as well.
So I have my call list in here. And then I have that one.
And it puts the other person at ease more than anything.
But it's not easy to talk about those things, it's a segue into
Right.
it easy, you know.
It's not an interview, it's
Right.
not an interrogation.
It's sales.
It stimulates a conversation,
It's
it's
not.
a two-way dialogue.
Right.
When you use your roles to ask a question and then listen carefully without interruption. Make comments, add your own thoughts, and ask more probing questions. Asking more questions is especially important. And they must be appropriate questions. For example, when a person answers an occupation question with, well, I got laid off and I'm on unemployment. Well, you wouldn't jump right into recreation questions. Well, that stinks. Let's talk about recreation. That would be insensitive and rude. Instead, you would find an appropriate question such as, how can I help? I can ask around and find out who's hiring now, if that works for you. Likewise, if a response to an occupation question is, I just started a new job. You wouldn't respond with, so what do you like doing for fun this weekend? You would ask, how's that working out for you? Yay. Isn't asking questions fun?
It's too, I was sharing this yesterday when we were talking about it and at Ignite, command is such a powerful tool. When I'm talking to someone, I open the note sections in that contact and I put forward. And then I follow it as they're answering the questions. I'm writing down, I'm typing on my computer what they're answering so that when it comes back around to them, I have that information and I can say, hey, last time we talked, your kids were going off to school. How's that going? You were going on XYZ trip. And then you can open a new note, update it, and you have a like tracker right there in that contacts thing. Or they can tell you, hey, we got a new puppy, and you can say, oh, what's its name? What breed is it? Like, and then they'll be so impressed the next time you talk to them that you're like, oh, how's Rosie?
You don't remember. I don't.
Oh, you're not. And the more people you add to your lead generator.
Your job's not to remember.
You can also at that time add in notes about their kids' birthdays. So that you can send their kids a card and some stickers.
Right.
What kid doesn't wanna?
The second activity on the daily success tracker is to add 10 contacts to your command database daily.
Really?
Yes, 10 a day.
I don't know if I.
Contacts are people who have agreed to a two-way relationship with you. You will start with people in your sphere, those you know, and those who know you. So we talked about, you know how to add a command and contact, all that. So start out simple by adding the people listed in your participant guide and add contacts to command or whatever database you use. You can do this during your success system time of the day. The third activity on your daily success system tracker.
What's in your database? How do you personally have that?
Yeah.
If my life depended on it, probably door knock. If my life depended on adding 10 people, my database.
About that.
Yes, it's a lot.
10 people. Well, I'm thinking, hey, I talked to the person pumping gas next to me this morning, but I don't think I would have asked. I would not have felt comfortable being like, hey, can I get your email and phone number?
I know.
No,
Does he own a home or does he rent?
I don't know. We were talking about gas prices.
Would that be a question to ask?
He was pumping gas and it was dually. I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, did you need to take a home loan? To buy gas, and he laughed, he said, no, but it's at least getting cheaper.
Between us, if nobody's listening, nobody's listening, it's just us. Hey, I don't want anybody talking about.
Especially at 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
He did kind of look at me really weird. Cause I like poked my hand, we were up, the only 2 cars at Sam's Club, and I poked my head around and I'm like, so how's it going? Wait.
Ah,
This brings to mind that, like, in social media, there's a group called Ladies of Left. I don't know if you.
I'm on it.
Okay,
I love
Anyway.
it. It's like the best place to
okay,
get.
well,
to see
I know, but when somebody put something out there about
I always
a
get.
real estate agent or whatever, I mean. It
It's
was like a
cat-like.
shark,
Yeah,
like, you know, some
I
drops in the
don't-
water and they just all over like this.
I pray for the people that that they need a realtor because it's like blood in the water.
I mean, you should have seen all those.
Jessica, I see
Oh,
Jessica's name on there. I see like a gazillion people that I know. I'm like, oh, no, them, no, them, no, them, no, them. And I'm like, is it even a white woman name on there
Yeah, why not? Why
now?
not?
But yes, I want to know how
Just
you.
gotta believe everybody else can say, right?
Added to your contact list.
There you go, there you go.
So you just ask random people who are checking you out at the grocery.
That's exactly right. Hey, everybody was strangers at one time. Speaking of stranger, I see you out there prowling the streets. What you talking about? Oh, nothing.
I sent you a message on Facebook, but
Only have my phone with me. I left it. What's up, Emma?
the team keeps going.
Great, stranger, long time no see.
Yes.
What brings you?
Forever.
I know,
It's like,
man.
What's up, what's up?
so me trying to walk. I told him that when I was like, we did, yeah. But I'm like,
What up, my dude?
How are you?
I know, it's preference. You know what, I think I saw your mom and your kids get hurt at,
They know.
here you
We didn't
go.
advertise for it.
Not too long ago? Yeah, she took him around for.
Oh my gosh, what's so good?
All there, it's.
How are you,
I
mama?
might have gone a little off. Sorry, good for a second.
There you go. What matters?
What matters, that's right. You gotta keep it engaged, so talking about what matters to you. It's like city.
And your password for your.
How was your vacation?
It's good, man. Well, it's not much of a vacay when you have a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old on the beach. You're just trying to keep people alive.
Not needing too much say.
Yeah.
Not needing too much say.
Yeah.
Here.
You feel great? Yeah. Did we end this